Hello. Welcome back. Alright, so today we're going to be making our simple, I don't even know what I called it on the thing. It's the green envelope. I think it's like a very tiny dahlia or something. Basically what happened was I had made a bunch of these and then realized like, oh, I don't know where I got this from. It's just kind of like a flower. So we just called it a dahlia. And then now I have to make a video because there is no video. So when you open your pack, there'll be a stem, your little piece of green wire. There'll be this like this kind of thing, and then there'll be a bunch of little petals, and they're all flat. So first thing you want to do so that you end up with a nice flower is you need to shape your petals. And so when you're doing it on this, you can shape them individually. I usually just pull the edges. So crepe paper is not really corrugated, but like it stretches. And so if you pull on it like that, you'll stretch the petal out a little bit and make it more like, petal shaped. And so you just want to do that with each of these. If you're real savvy, you can try to like do multiple ones at once, but you gotta fold it the right way to do that. So it might be faster to just like, give a little pull to each one, and you're just pulling right from the like middle side. It doesn't take a long time. Okay, so you should be left with like just a little train of bended these. And then for these, the individual petals, it's like faster if you stack a few and then shape a few at a time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. So you just stack them and then pull the edges again like that, and that will like cause them to cup a little bit. And then if you really want to be fancy, you can use your stick and just bend the tips down just a little bit just to give the petal a little bit more shape, so it's a little bit curved at the end. It's up to you, it doesn't matter. So you just want to bend all these. All right. So I just made another video for this flower. So I'm trying to think of like what I haven't already said. Yeah, so okay, here's what I'll tell you. So when we were trying to think of like what to do for Artisphere this year, and I was like, oh, let's do crepe paper flowers, like that'll be so much fun. I didn't realize like how expensive crepe paper was in America. So like I grew up overseas in Thailand, and stuff is like cheap there, like you can get anything for cheap. And then I came here and I was like, what the heck? Why is everything so expensive? So we bought Temu crepe paper, and it's not bad, but it's not as good as like some of the like bougier crepe papers. But you know what? We work with what we got. Okay, so I've shaped all of my petals. And now I'm going to just kind of assemble the flower. So I'm working with a glue stick, like hot glue gun, which if you have one is fantastic. It makes everything so much faster. But if you are using what we have at school, it just might take a little bit longer to dry. I just didn't want to bring in glue sticks, because I didn't want someone to like forget and then just like leave a glue stick plugged in overnight. Okay, so we're gonna start with this. It's easier to wrap and like deal with if you just like pull it a little bit. Okay, you don't need to like fully stretch it out, but just a little bit makes it not so like when it's laying on the table. Okay, so this is where you can kind of like, if you're working with regular glue, then just like go ahead and throw a whole line of glue that goes all the way along the strip. If you're doing hot glue, depends how fast you can turn. You can do like half and then half. I don't know. I'm feeling ambitious today. Let's just go ahead and do the whole strip. Why do we have moderation? All right, and then we just roll like fire quickly. There's no time to waste. This is the part of the activity where somebody in my family immediately needs something, and it's like always an emergency, and I'm like, okay, well, the glue is drying. Okay, so you're just rolling it up, okay? And you want your petals to be facing inward. So like oh, you can't really see that. So like the petals are facing toward, okay, it cut off. Sorry, I don't know where it stopped. But at the end of your rolling, this is what you're left with. It looks kind of awkward. The only other thing that I did was I don't want my flower to fall off the stick. And so to kind of stop that from happening as readily, I put more glue on the bottom, if you can see it. Like I just put a bunch of glue there around the base. That way, like, it really is just not gonna fall off the stick. Because if it falls off the stick, it falls off the board, and then it's just more work. Okay, so next, then we're just gonna glue all of our little free floating petals onto our flower. And I think the best way to do this is, like, if you have different sizes, then, like, put the smaller ones in towards the middle and the bigger ones kind of on the outer layers. And then also, like, you want to overlap them as you put them on. So kind of, like, overlap slightly, you know? So that looks like it's, I don't know, like a nice, I don't know what the word is. I can't think of anything. It's like 7:15 right now. My brain is not functioning. Yeah, and so you're just gonna put it on, and this part right here that's flat, I usually just attach these like right at the base, so it kind of covers the weird flat part that doesn't look natural. And then you just kind of work your way around. And while I'm doing this, I'll tell you a story that I also said on my last video when I was showing how to make the other peony. So with Artisphere this year, like, there's so many paper flowers that are being made. I have gone through so many glue sticks. It's disgusting and lots of fumes. And so this whole time, as I, get glue on my fingers, and there's just glue everywhere, and there's just constant melted glue everywhere, I can't help but think of my brother-in-law. So, my brother-in-law... Actually, let me start by saying, if you haven't met me, I have kids. And if you have met me, I'm sorry that you always have to hear me talk about them, but I love them, and they're fabulous. So when my son Kai was like 3 years old, he was really into trains. And so my sister and her new husband were like, we're going to make him a train mat. Like, one of those felt mats where you can like pretend to drive the trains on, and there's like little buildings made out of felt. That's, And so they bought a bunch of felt, and for Christmas they like glued a bunch of stuff. They made a little train mat for Kai, and he loved it. But at some point during the production process, Will, my brother-in-law, managed to get third-degree glue gun burns on one of his finger. And I really haven't stopped thinking about that. Sorry, it's like a piece of glue. I haven't stopped thinking about that because I don't know how he did it. Like, I've gone through so much glue, and I haven't even, like, burned any amount of my finger to any degree. It's just not like that hot. So I don't know if he had some weird like industrial grade glue gun or like just like kept his finger on the very tip for an extended period of time. But like he really burned the crap out of his finger. Train set looked nice though. But anyway, Will, if you're watching this, I hope it's recovered. Okay, not that Will would be watching this. All right. So you're just going to kind of work your way around and like look at it from the top too. If one side looks a little bit uneven, just add more petals to the other side. Just, I don't know. It's not supposed to be hard. You're just gluing petals to a stick. Okay. Okay. Almost done. All right. So if you're using It died. Sorry. So I went ahead and glued the rest on. So at the end of the gluing extravaganza, you should be left with a flower that looks kind of like that. What I was saying is if you're using the glue that I put on the table, you'll want to like really let it fully dry before manipulating the petals. But if you're using a hot glue gun, then just like wait for a few seconds. But once you're done, it kind of looks like that. You can make it look a little bit more natural by just pulling the petals down a little bit, just to kind of fold the flower out and make it, or you don't have to, you know, like it can just look like a flower that's not totally bloomed yet. And then just, you know, make it look nice. Okay. So it looks like that when you're done. That's it. Thank you all very much.